Hi, I am Qiyara, and welcome to my video. I saw this video posted by Saintotas today, and instead of just making a comment on the video, I decided, you know what, might as well watch through the video again and just put my own comments on the discussion. And yeah, so let's get into this.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to talk a little bit about the Wuthering Waves subreddit. And if you're familiar with what's been going on in this subreddit over the past couple of days, it is safe to say that it is an absolute fucking disaster, filled with so much doom posting, so much complaining about things that aren't really worth complaining about, and an over-exaggeration of pretty much every single issue you could find when it comes to a patch. And I'm glad that there's one person in particular, the Berry Man, that's decided to go ahead and just make the thoughts of what I'm pretty sure is actually the majority of the player base known.
First off, just assuming that because you agree with it, that the majority of the player base agrees with it, is a very conceited way of thinking. And with all the complaints, although there are a lot of exaggerated ones, I don't think it's fair to lump all of the criticisms, the complaints, in the same pile.
Sub is becoming unbearable. Yes, it is. I was going to type out a long post about how I get that some of the things Kuro has been doing lately aren't ideal, that they could be better, but ultimately this is still a good game and we should stop being overly critical. But the shit I'm seeing is just ridiculous. I genuinely don't know if I'm playing the same game as these posters. And let me show you a bit of an example of what these posters are saying. The anniversary patch felt underwhelming. Predatory anniversary event. To the people who have defended Kuro these last few days, night market is trash. The screen pops up when you try to claim insider rewards. Another review of the WuWa anniversary events and how underwhelming it is. So yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of conversation being had over here. I do think that the Doom posting has fortunately gone down over the past couple of days. Now I'm just seeing booty shots. Now I'm just seeing like booty shots and like tier lists and stuff like that, and a lot of cubes. So I think it's gotten a lot better for sure. And this is the thing, right? We can look over here and we can see that when it comes to the Wuthering Waves subreddit, there's 1.1k online right now, right? This is at the current present time of recording. Zenless Zone 0, 468. ZZZ Official, 616. Genshin Impact, 1.1. And Honkai Star Rail, 496, right?
I'm going to let Saint get to the end of this point where he's talking about this before I jump in.
WuWa's still at the top when it comes to this. And I do believe, in at least my honest opinion, right? This is where a lot of the Doom posting is coming from. Because I've actually got footage from yesterday showing off some of these numbers. Wuthering Waves was at 1.3 yesterday, not even 24 hours ago, more like 18 hours ago. It was at 1.3. We just look over here. Genshin Impact was at 700. HSR was at 600. And then ZZZ was at 600 and 363 for the official one. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I wonder why there are so many people frequenting the WuWa subreddit, and there are more complaints, more exaggeration of minor issues than we've ever seen in the history of the game. Subway Surfers, AstroTurfers is what I do believe is the name of the game. Because holy shit, a lot of the complaints that we've been seeing just seem so ridiculous, it's almost unreal.
I think that, assuming always, this has been a point that I've seen Saint make for the past like month or so. Every complaint, every criticism, he basically shoves into saying that they are AstroTurfers. They are not even players who actually play the game. They are Hoyo fanboys who just want WuWa to crash and burn. Like, are some of them there? Sure, I can believe it. I can believe that there's even maybe like half the complaints are it. But I think lumping all of it in there, like that's what it seems like he does always. He just lumps every criticism, every complaint, unless it's something that he specifically thinks of, in with the Hoyo shills, and these aren't actually people who play the game.
Let's dive back into this post. We've gotten some of the context. We've shown some of the numbers. Obviously, we don't have any exact proof, but when you know how easy it is to, upvote posts on Reddit, bring them to the top, and make it easier for those posts to be upvoted more in the future, Yeah, that's why astroturfing is such a big concern on the platform. Because 2,000 very, very dedicated people can make and push something to the top that's going to get viewed by potentially millions. So with that, let's go ahead.
That's a very valid point, and yes, that can happen. But I don't think that's what's happening with absolutely everything that's going on the subreddit.
And keep going. I genuinely don't know if I'm playing the same game as these posts, man. Zani's dependent on Phoebe, 1 billion DPS loss, and so I decided to test out Shorekeeper, S-Rover, and Zani in the first hazard zone with the dragon, and it was over in 2 rotations. To be fair, this rotation, it gives you a 100% Spectral Frazzle damage amp, so I think it's a little bit unfair to make this comparison, but I've already made a couple of videos. We already talked about a couple of the dynamics when it comes to Spectral Rover and Zani, and it was incredibly over-exaggerated. The difference in performance between the two teams. I think that there was a very popular post that had around, I believe it was around 4,000 upvotes. I'll see if I can pull it up. That we made a video kind of not necessarily debunking, but just really explaining further, right? This post over, or this video over here, where I basically call it Zani Doom posting is out of control. And in this video, right, we go over Selkie's post, kind of talking about like how Kuro's like, this is like a masterclass in greed. Zani's like, Zani has like a quarter of her kit without like Spectral Rover and all of that. And basically, we just get into the fact that Phoebe does no damage and Rover actually does deal damage. And so like drawing those this is Rover's damage. Ro's doing 105k in one attack, right? And Phoebe's doing 29k on her liberation. There's literally like a damage difference of like 300% personal damage. So clearly that entire issue with Phoebe's performance versus Spectral Rover's performance was incredibly over-exaggerated. There has been a ton of posts by a lot of CCs, a ton of videos showing that, yeah, she's pretty okay. She's like pretty fine. There's no need to like really be freaking out this much and saying that like, this is the most absurd thing that's ever happened to the game. But there are still people to this day, right, that are saying Zani is unplayable without Phoebe. Unfortunate, right? So that whole thing is debunked. She works just fine with Spectral Rover. Next up, we got...
I don't have Zani. I don't have Phoebe. I don't care for their playstyle. I think Zani's a cool character. I never pulled for her. I'm not planning to pull for her. It's whatever. This whole point, I do think it was overblown, but it is pretty crazy the damage potential you have when you do have Phoebe and Zani. But the fact that Zani can clear everything just fine with Spectral Rover as her one, I can't think of the word. I'm going to cut out like 10 seconds I was trying to think of. But Spectral Rover is just fine with being able to apply the stacks that Zani needs in order to do some good damage. So at that point, yeah, it is overblown. But I think that happens a lot. A lot of people are like, Carlotta is so much worse without Jeja, but I refuse to get Jeja, and my Carlotta does just fine, so.
Got the anniversary patch is underwhelming. Bro has a link to it. I get that this poster isn't hating on everything, but the wording is clearly negative and I need to vent. If you finish the entirety of the anniversary patch within 24 hours, you didn't find it underwhelming, full stop. Wait, is that what they did? I'm gonna have to take a look at this. I don't know why, but I was expecting something more grandeur. This doesn't feel like a celebration of thank you for being with us throughout the entire year. Here's to more. I don't think he's necessarily wording it like he finished the entire thing, but maybe this is like the ending screen of the event. I haven't actually played it yet. So, yeah, I guess, I mean, that's a fair point to raise. That's a fair point to raise. If you manage to finish the entire patch and the entire event within the time frame, then yeah, I imagine you probably at least enjoyed it a little bit. Otherwise, you probably would have stopped playing it. You can't...
The event's pretty basic. I think that's a bad point to make. That, oh, if you didn't enjoy it, then why did you play it? You played it to get the rewards. That's why you played the event. It happens with every gacha. In CCZ, you play the events not because you like the events, but because you want the rewards from the events. In HSR, you play the events not because you like the events, but because you get the rewards are tied behind playing the events.
I didn't even finish the Cube Combat event, I don't think. Oh, okay, so then we're making conclusions about the entirety of the patch with time-gated content. And so we haven't experienced the whole thing yet.
I believe at the time of this post, they're talking about there's only the first 10 stages out. And that's as far as I've gotten. There's still 2 or 3 cubes you don't have unlocked at that point. But you can get all the cubes that you do have. You can get them up to level 10, which unlocks all their slots for things to put on them. And so you're not really going to get anything new. You're just going to get the other characters that have their own cube ability, and then you can modify them with the other cube abilities. I don't think there's really going to be anything crazy added. So for a first impression, it is kind of not really anything special. It is kind of cool, but if you don't like it, you don't like it. I don't know why there's anything wrong with not liking the event. Although, yes, this person is complaining a lot, so that's fair.
Not about to defend shit he didn't say. Oh, so this is the thing, right? I understand that you're here. You're here to sow as much discord as possible. But I will use you to reinforce one of my points. Blood over here is critiquing something he didn't play. Did we talk about that? Blood here is critiquing something he didn't play. You just told me it's time gated. So he didn't play it yet. Because it's time gated. As you can see, Hoyoverse is not sending their best.
Saint doing the same thing he always does and just claiming that every criticism is coming from Hoyoverse players. Like, people can play multiple games. You played Honkai Star Rail at one point, Saint, I'm pretty sure. I think you quit. You said you quit like 3 or 4 months ago. I don't know. But I mean, just because you play the game doesn't mean you're a Hoyo shell. I don't know, man.
Hoyoverse is actually not sending their best. Unfortunately, you simply say one thing to them, and they will begin short-circuiting, and they'll...
Although, I guess maybe it's part of being a Kurobot. And that's not me calling you a Kurobot. It's literally in your title of every YouTube stream that I saw you did. And in the title, I think it's even in the title of your Twitch stream, at least the last one that I saw, Kurobot returns. So maybe that's just like a self-pride thing that you have to call everyone who is criticizing the game a Hoyo shill. And that's part of your being a Kurobot. So maybe, I don't know.
They'll lose the ability to start reasoning. Yeah, it's okay. You're literally here, Gohan, to be entertainment. It's fine. So yeah, clearly, we're making these whole sort of like negative posts about an event that we haven't played. People are entirely free to do that, but I think that the whole viewpoint of saying, yeah, this is a very underwhelming event, when you're literally on day 1 of the patch, and the anniversary is supposed to last, I don't know, 42, and you're physically not capable of unlocking and experiencing all the content in the patch, a lot of people could say that's premature.
Yeah, that's fair. They could have said, like, the patch is underwhelming so far, or this event is underwhelming so far, but I don't think it really matters much, because the way that a lot of people speak, the way that even Saint speaks, is that the way that they think is the correct way, is the majority of the way that people think, and that they are, as a matter of fact, correct, even if it's a so far kind of thing. So I don't think it really matters, to be honest.
Especially knowing how much there is still left to go, like, you know, events like the Elusive Realm. Next up, we got the Predatory Event Shop.
That's fair. Elusive Realm is not out yet. At least I don't think it is. I haven't seen it. And that is something that is very exciting. So that's fair.
This one is an incredible display of self-victimization. I've got the link for it right here. And there's actually 2 posts.
This is the event that I made my last video about. We'll let him talk some, and then I'll talk some, and then we'll let him talk some.
Regarding this is a lot of people that are actively complaining about the fact that Kuro's just giving us a rebate, right? That Kuro...
Yes, because Kuro announced this event. They showed rewards that you're going to get from the event, and then they're tied behind 8 of the polls are tied behind actually pulling on the banners.
Kuro's giving us a rebate on our polls. That they're allowing you to, when you spend on any of the banners across the entire anniversary, ladies and gentlemen. You got Zani's banner over here. You got Zani's weapon. You, of course, got the 5 reruns that are coming in this phase, and then the 5 reruns that are coming the next phase. And then, on top of all that, you have the release of Kachona as well, who's going to count for those. Yeah, right? Kuro's basically giving us a rebate on those pulls. And this is the thing, ladies and gentlemen. People are saying this is the most predatory thing ever. Like,
it's definitely not the most predatory thing ever, but it is annoying that because you don't want to pull for characters, because there's characters like Artethia she's going to be coming soon. There's, I mean, I don't know if you look at leaks or not, but there's like 3 or 4 other. There's at least 2 other characters besides the Cartethia that are coming soon-ish. And if you want those characters and you don't really care about the current characters, then why would you want to pull? You want these pulls in order to save for them. So it just kind of feels bad to not be able to get these pulls without having to use way more pulls and risk getting a character that you don't want. And it's not just a character, you have to pull on both the weapon and the character banner in order to unlock all of the pulls.
Like, Kuro's never done something like this. They're doing like they're this is worse than HSR spending event because they're forcing you to pull. Hey guys, are we forgetting about something that happens every single patch? Are we forgetting about this? Should we remove the Afterglow Coral Shop and then the Oscillated Coral Shop with the, because those are on a monthly reset, right? Aren't the oscillated corals, you know, the ones where you go into the store, right? I've already bought them all, right? Should we remove these from the shop as well?
This is a bad comparison because this is something that is basically baked into the Hoyo-verse way of gacha. The pulls and the pity and this cashback shop that they have. This is all stuff that games that make their gacha system similar to Genshin, or similar. Well, I'm going to say Genshin because that's the first one that they did that with. They all have this, so this is something that players are expecting to happen, and you don't have to. This isn't limited by what patch you're pulling on. You can pull like people pulled on Shorekeeper, which happened right before this patch, and I pulled for Shorekeeper, which happened just before this patch. And if you pulled for any character before that, or you can pull probably 5 characters, and then you have enough for all these things for the next 7 patches. It doesn't matter. It's not something limited. But comparing it to the event, which was not told at all about being locked behind pulls, it was just shown or like teased. It does kind of feel bad that it is locked behind pulls.
Don't I have to pull these? Don't I have to pull to get these? Oh, but we've had 11 months of these. Or sorry, not 11 months. We've had about 7, 8, 9 patches. We've had 7, 8, 9 patches of these. But suddenly now it's bad? Oh, wow. Awful. Yeah, I'm clutching my pearls right now.
Yeah, people aren't complaining about this, and trying to correlate them together is a false equivalency that Mr. Saintotas loves to do.
This is the most predatory shit ever. Kuro Games, you need to remove this as well. I shouldn't feel pressured to pull on any banner ever, because then I won't have enough to buy out this in the shop. I'm going to be forced to pull on a banner. And you know what else? Every other game with resetting shops like this should also remove them. So Genshin, HSR, ZZZ, every single game
Girls Frontline 2,
where you have after pull currency, where you get a currency for pulling. I think Black Beacon has it too. Yeah, they gotta remove all of it. This is insane. You're right. And then these Eidolons, all these free Eidolons that you can pull with the currency. Damn, now I'm gonna feel pressure to pull and build up the Afterglow Coral. I'm gonna feel pressure to pull and build up the Afterglow Coral. Otherwise, I won't be able to get these sequence nodes before they leave. No, this is, nah, that's not, yeah, no, this is predatory. You need to remove these from the shop. They need to remove these from the shop. Unbelievable.
He's overreacting to the overreaction. That's what's happening right now.
Anything that resets on a time basis needs to be gone, because I don't.
And that's building even further on the overreaction, is saying, oh, because of this, you got to remove this, and because that is also predatory. Oh, we're playing a gacha game. Everything's going to be predatory. That's just the name of the game. But it just kind of feels bad that it's locked behind the pulls. I don't know how that's bad. I don't know why saying that it feels bad that since I have characters that I don't want to pull any of these other characters that are currently out. I'm not going to get the pulls for the character I do want because I didn't want to pull for a character I already have or pull for a character I don't really want.
Don't want to feel pressured by time to do something like pull. That's what these people are saying, essentially, right? That is what these people are saying. You've even got this guy over here saying that the night market is trash.
As someone that's saving my pulls for Cartithia, This feels like a slap in my face. I legit miss out on 8 polls during an anniversary patch because I won't poll on the banners? Like what? I did the math. And by doing the events, you can't get 1,200 unless you do a few polls. And that's not even to mention the other 5. So because I refuse to poll on a patch, because none of the characters interest me.
Every limited character in the game, by the way. Every limited...
It doesn't matter. If you've been playing the game, you already have polled on the characters. Then I don't think it matters, man.
Character in the game that's ever released, other than the ones that just reran. Other than the ones that just reran. Yeah, this guy is saying every single character does not interest me at all.
I think there would be a lot less people complaining if the characters that just reran didn't just rerun and then they were in this. So like Doorkeeper, if her banner was in this, and Camellia, if her banner was in this rerun, were pulls for them and their weapon counted towards this, I think there would be actually less people complaining about it than there are now. But that's also me assuming that a lot of people pulled on Doorkeeper's banner, because I pulled on Doorkeeper's banner, because I didn't get her first time around.
I'm down to basically a 10 poll. Absolute bullshit on top of the shit anniversary rewards. I hope y'all enjoy your spending event.
It is kind of a soft tier spending event if you really think about it. If you have to do polls, you get the polls back, and then you don't have polls, get the character you want. I know it really is just a rebate, like they said before, but I don't know. It's a soft tier soft core spending event, in my opinion.
How about Kachona?
Are you gonna use another sub DPS for Cartithia?
I'm pulling Cartithia for waifu reasons, not meta. So no, I will only...
Also, why does Saint call her Kachona? Her name's Chacona. Because Saint says... What? Kachona? I think Tectone's also saying Kachona. And I do agree. I think that Kachona sounds like a better name. But her name is Chacona, not Kachona.
I will only pull for her.
It's like, you have to factor in the percentage of the player base that this is actually going to reasonably impact is going to be a very small one. Because...
No, not necessarily.
Because you have to be a special type of stupid. You have to be a special type of stupid to actually be negatively impacted by this event. You'd have to be in a situation, right, where, again, you don't need any of these characters.
You're calling people stupid because they don't want characters? That's kind of ignorant. What?
You're not willing to pull a single sequence node, and you're also not willing to build up any pity at all. This night market event.
I think pulling with the intention of building pity is the biggest bait you could ever do in a gacha game. Because you should not pull without the intention of getting the character. Pulling just to build pity is the biggest bait you can do in any gacha game.
Is literally a rebate, right? It is a rebate, and if you pull Zani, you're good, right? You pull any weapon.
That's what feels bad, though, is that it's all it is a rebate. It wasn't advertised as a rebate. It was advertised as one of the nice events in the anniversary reward. If they said during that live stream that, oh, and part of this event is this Gilded Night Market, where in order to unlock these rewards, in order to unlock all of the Radiant Tides, you need to pull on the character and the limited banner. And then they would have probably gotten tons of negative feedback before it even came out. But part of the reason that I think a lot of people are complaining about it, I mean, I complained about it, is because we didn't know about it until the patch was out. And then it's just kind of there. And it's like, what the fuck, man? I don't have any characters I want to pull right now. I already have the characters I want. So why am I punished? Why do I not get the pulls? Because I don't want to pull.
You're good. You'll get all the rewards. And I think another thing people haven't recognized is that the event actually lasts 53 days. Night market tokens can no longer be obtained after 42, but the shop is going to be open for 53 days. And so the only situation where somebody's going to be in like trouble is if they have a guarantee on the character banner that's active right now, and they also don't want to pull any of the 12 characters that are going to be running this patch.
I don't think that that is the only situation. I think that is definitely a worse situation than other people. But just because you don't have a guarantee doesn't make like that much of a difference.
And when you're in a situation where the patch is supposed to give around 130 plus pulls, you're going to be somebody that wants to skip all 12 characters and then like pull multiple copies of Kachona and then like be on a pity that's guaranteed. Be on a high pity and also have it be guaranteed. Like, I'm going to be honest here. That is such a small subset of the populace. And you also have to be somebody that wants to pull multiple copies of Cartithia and then also doesn't want to pull. You also don't want to pull her either while also going for multiple copies of Cartithia, knowing that currently Kachona is going to be a premier arrow erosion buffer and a premier arrow erosion enabler with buffs and application built into her kit. And on top of that, you already know from context clues in-game, because this is what Fleur-de-Lis's goddamn Echo looks like. I wonder what that question mark is. And I wonder why Gusts of Welkin is an arrow erosion set that Fleur-de-Lis boss form drops. And so, Kuro has basically confirmed to you that Cartithia is an arrow erosion character, and one of her better partners is going to be Kachona. It's basically confirmed. You don't even need to look at a single kit leak to know that. You simply need to have more
Why did you move over here? I'm moving my camera over here so you could be over there.
than 2 brain cells to rub together. Okay, and what if you don't like Kachona? Then don't pull her. Then don't pull her. But this is the thing.
Wait, no way. Do I have to... Okay, 1 second. We're moving myself. Ain't moved over to me. So now I gotta move over here. Okay, I think we're good.
You have to not like Kachona. You have to really like Cartithia. And you also have...
I don't think it matters wanting to be... I don't want to pull for multiple copies of Cartithia. I just want 1 copy of Cartithia. But I don't think needing or wanting more than a single copy is necessary. I don't know.
have to not like any character that's running across the entire patch. You also have to not...
And I don't think it matters about liking the character. Like, I like Phoebe. I like Zani. I don't care for Jeja. I don't care for Jing Liao or Jian. And I already have Yinlin. But that doesn't mean I'm going to pull for him.
not like every single character that's running across the entire patch. If you check the rules of the event, it says all convenes made after the version 2.3 update will count towards task progress. All convenes made after the version 2.3 update will count towards task progress. Yeah, I think that only means...
Yeah, that's weird. What is that? After? So, does that mean that the Cartithia will count towards it? Because it says, he already pointed to it, and I think he's about to talk about it, is the tokens are going to be unavailable in 42 days, which is the end of the patch. But it goes into the next patch. So, what are they talking about?
Means this over here. Yeah, I think that there's an end, right? There's an end to it. And so this is the thing, right? I think at this point,
unless 42 days isn't... No, I'm sure that it is the end of the 2.3 patch. But if it goes into the next patch, then I don't know. That's better for a lot of people, but yeah, that's a little bit weird.
the number of people, the number of players that are reasonably going to be impacted is so low, it's ridiculous. You'd have to be somebody that wants to skip every single banner. You'd
Me?
also have to be somebody that's not willing to build any pity at all. You'd also
Building
have to
pity
be
is
somebody...
building pity is a scam. I do want to pull for Carlotta's weapon, but I mean that's just pulling for Carlotta's weapon,
right? That doesn't want to pull anything across an entire 42-day patch. And let's be real here. The number of people that are going to fall into that in the population is absurdly low.
And just because I'm only pulling for Carlotta's weapon, I'm not going to let you get the last 5 pulls. I think he's going to mention it. He's like, oh, it doesn't matter. But I mean, if 5 pulls is 5 pulls, man. I'd rather get them than miss out on them because I didn't want to pull for a character. I didn't want to spend more pulls than I'm going to get back.
And this is all for 8 pulls. Do you know how many people are always talking about,
Oh, just skip the TOA. You don't have to build your characters. Just skip the Tower of Adversity. The Tower of Adversity only gives you like 5 pulls. WuWa only gives you 5 pulls. So you don't have to feel pressured into completing that content.
yeah, okay then, mother...
That's a complaint that isn't necessarily from the same people complaining about the night market. So, I don't know. You're kind of lumping everyone's complaint into the same people and saying that because somebody doesn't like the night market, they also are in the same boat as someone complaining about literally everything else about the game.
Fucker, this is 8 pulls. You don't need to feel pressure to do this. We can just spin that bullshit around right back at you. Yeah, this is 8 pulls. You don't need to feel pressure to do anything. Oh, we didn't think about it that way, did we? And this is the thing, right? It's 8 pulls. You want to know how much you get from the blue coral shop after a reset? We're over
7.
here throwing shit at the
7.
wall about 8 pulls. Yeah, you get 7. You get 7 just from the patch reset.
Yep.
And so, yeah, if you...
Once again, comparing it to the thing that we know is going to happen every patch to the thing that we didn't know that we thought were just going to be an event that we did something and we got the polls from, instead of you have to poll to get the polls. There is a big difference in knowing that and expecting the patch to have that every reset versus an event that was part of the anniversary that we didn't know about.
You skip all 12 banners, you might not be able to get it. So now that we have explained that Gilded Night Market event, I think it's pretty...
Saint, you're back on the wrong side. What the hell? There we go.
Clear that this is one incredible display of self-victimization. Kuro includes polls in the event shop to get those pseudo refunds, with a total of 8 gated behind pulling. And then 3 of those 8 are gated behind 20 pulls anywhere. And so if you don't even make at least 20 pulls, who knows, right? Maybe you're the guy that's on a guarantee on your weapon banner, and you're on a guarantee on your character banner, and you just don't want to do anything. And then the last 5 is just 5 pulls. And that might...
Yeah. You can be like, oh, it's just 5 pulls, it's just 5 pulls. Yeah, but it's 5 pulls that I'm not gonna get. That's the problem. Is there 5 pulls that you're not gonna get because you didn't spend 80 pulls. You didn't spend, I don't know how much it is. I'm pretty sure somebody did some math and you only need to spend like 40 pulls on the weapon banner and 20 pulls on the character banner, or vice versa. I don't know. That's still 60 pulls that you have to do in order to get 8 more pulls. I don't know. It just kind of feels bad.
Require you to go to 40 pulls total on the banners. And again, that's less than what you get from one of the version resets in the shop. Are we really pretending that this is some ploy by Kuro to get you to pull more and not just a nice bonus for people who aren't saving on the anniversary with 12 banners available to spend on? Who knows?
Yeah, but it should be a nice bonus for everyone and not just people that are pulling. That's the problem. Is I don't know why we are gatekeeping rewards behind pulling. Gatekeeping the rewards behind TOA. Oh, you gotta do the TOA. You gotta be decent at the game and have some decent build. Okay, that's fine. Same with WuWa. Same with the holograms, which hologram doesn't really give too much rewards, but there are things locked behind it. I don't know why it's so bad to be annoyed that you're not going to get polls because you don't want to spend polls.
Knows, maybe you get an early by just building pity on like 30 pulls. Oh no, I lost 50-50 at 30 pulls. This is the worst thing ever. Oh.
But it's what if you don't like it? You already have characters. I'm gonna probably have to end up pulling on Carlotta and Carlotta's weapon in order to get all the pulls. If I get the Carlotta early, then it's whatever, because Carlotta is just good. But it's annoying that you have to do it, and it's not something that you just are going to get just because you're playing the anniversary.
Oh no, I got a limited unit at 20. Oh, this is terrible. People are just clutching their pearls right now, acting like it would be the worst thing ever to build like 40 pity on a limited banner. And then
once again, building pity is a scam.
Act like getting an early 5-star would be like the worst thing ever because they were like saving or something like that. Acting like this is a predatory inclusion that's meant to draw pulls out of you is actually insane. when nobody is going to pull up the event shop, see 2,200 currency required, and think, oh,
I was gonna save these next 80 pulls for Cartithia, but those 5 pulls are calling my name.
get yourselves checked out. And
One
this
second,
is
we're gonna go back and I'm gonna read that again because what? Or I'm gonna let him read it
would
again.
be like the worst thing ever because they were like saving or something like that. Acting like this is a predatory inclusion that's meant to draw pulls out of you is actually insane when nobody is going to pull up the event shop.
It is kind of a little bit predatory because if you are like, you know what, I do want all these polls, and let me get these. You know what, I'm gonna get some cash back for spending. Let me do this, and the reset just happened. So you're like, oh, now I've spent all my polls. I got these polls back. Now let me top up so I can get my next character.
See 2,200 currency required.
But it's nowhere near as bad as Hawkeye Star Rail or anything Hueyo has done so far or recently. So
And think,
Oh, I was gonna save these next 80 pulls for Cartithia, but those 5 pulls are calling my name.
get yourselves checked out. Yeah.
and that's not what people are saying, really. It's that I should just be able to get the rewards without having to pull. That's the problem. And I know you guys are seeing it as not a big deal, but I don't know. I think it's why am I going to be left out of the rewards?
No, they're entirely right. And this is the thing. You go S0R1 on any unit, and you will likely 1,000,000% fill out everything you need to and be able to pull everything in the event. And if you don't, fuck it. Pull 20 times on the weapon banner, 20 times on the resonator banner, and you should have pretty much all.
I am saying this from the perspective of somebody who hasn't done it yet, but like I said before, I am probably just going to pull for Carlotta a little bit and then fully pull in her weapon, and then I'll be able to get everything. But it's kind of stupid that I'm going to have to do that in order to get the pulls. And yeah, if I get a dupe of Carlotta, then I'm not complaining. Carlotta's good. Any dupes of her are good. So it's whatever. But the fact that I wasn't going to pull for Carlotta and now I'm going to pull for Carlotta because of this is kind of lame. I mean, I am building pity, and like I said, it's a scam, but whatever.
All of the rewards, you might not be able to get the 5 pulls, but it's not really that deep, right? Are you going to spend 20 pulls to get 5? Are you
Yes.
going to spend 40 pulls to get 5?
Depends.
Are you going to spend 80 pulls
No.
to get 5 of them? Or if you're going to save, you just save. But
Yeah, but if you're saving, then you want all the pulls you can possibly get in order to save. And seeing that pulls are locked behind spending your savings feels bad. Does it not?
do keep in mind, you have to spend them in the first place to get them. And there's already plenty of stuff in the game, plenty of mechanics, where you have to spend something to get something. And so if you're going to complain about the Gilded Night Market event and...
But he's just saying it again, and I'm going to say it again. Comparing the portal and the cashback shop that we know and expect in any game that copies Hueyo's gacha mechanics and monetization model is not the same thing as it being in an event.
say that it's the worst thing ever. I don't want to hear you saying that missing out on the TOA and missing out on Whimpering Waste isn't a big deal. If you're the same person that's complaining about the Gilded Night Market pulls, you better be sweating the fuck out of the TOA, sweating the fuck out of WuWa, and doing...
You really don't have to sweat. I got all the WuWa rewards with my pretty okay builds. But yes, I am doing that.
all the exploration on the map. If you're...
And the only exploration I don't have done is the freaking top left of the Guanglong. I'm missing 5%, but I have the rest of the map complete.
You're making that big of a deal out of 5 pulls when we already have an existing rebate system in the game that nobody has ever complained about, ever. I have never seen anybody complain about the Coral Shop. I have never seen anybody complain about the Afterglow Shop. They've only been glazing the shit out of this. And guess what?
Because it's a good thing. It's a nice thing.
Gilded Night Market, kind of just the same thing.
No, it's not, because it's part of an event that we weren't expecting and we didn't know about until it was thrust upon us.
And you want to know the best part about this? All the dumbasses in that thread saying that this is worse than HSR's spending event? Yeah.
Those guys are retards. Don't listen to them.
Yeah, I don't see any Lunite on here. I don't see the need to buy Lunite to clear any of these. This is actually 1,000,000% achievable for a free-to-play player.
It is.
There were literally people saying that this is worse than HSRs.
It's not.
Because, oh, Kuro's forcing you to pull in the patch. At least with HSR, you can spend $250 and then not spend it on the patch.
There are literally people saying that. Maybe we can find one dude who's being exceptionally stupid. Ooh, you get five pulls back for spending 80. Predatory spending event. They gave them 5 pulls back after they spent 80.
The way I think about it is kind of a softcore spending event. It's possible to do free to play. It's kind of similar to Honkai Impact Third on how they do their spending events. It's just like consume I don't know what they call them, crystals. And you get these stuff, and you get this reward. But it doesn't matter. Like, you can save up a bunch of dorm pulls, which are the standard banner, and you can spend those all, and it does count towards your gems. So if you're a free-to-play player and you saved up, you can get the stuff for free. But if you didn't save up, then you're gonna have to spend in order to get the whole rewards from the spending event.
Even Hoyo doesn't pull stuff like this. The HSR anniversary spending event didn't make you pull. Just spend on gems. People who don't want to pull this patch with 12 banners on it.
That's a stupid argument. I'll agree with you saying that's a stupid argument.
And 12 weapons got next level screwed. Yeah, 1% of the fucking player base. I need to see if this guy actually posts in the WuWa's subreddit. Alright, I've seen everything I need to see. Remember when I said, ladies and gentlemen, that the WuWa's subreddit has been getting a lot of activity lately? Oh, yeah. And why the Genshin, HSR, and ZZZ subreddits weren't getting a lot? Oh, yeah. And remember when I said it's really easy to upvote and manipulate what's showing up on the Reddit front page? Remember when I said that? Oh, yeah. And if this one dude is deciding to...
I think just because somebody plays other games doesn't mean, and they post on other subreddits, it doesn't mean that their opinions are invalid. But this guy is a guy who made this stupid comment. So, fair point.
Comment, and that's how we're finding him out. How many people do you think are simply just not commenting? Because there are at least 24 brigaders that upvoted this post alongside it. Imagine how many are just going ahead and spreading these dog shit narratives. Yeah, I completely lost trust in Kuro at this point. They are no better than Hoyoverse.
Retard. That's who that one is. That guy's a retard.
How dare they give people back 5 pulls after they spend 80? So, do keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. The Wuthering Waves subreddit, I do think it's going down because we've seen the number of users going down. It's been getting actively brigaded across the patch. A lot of people making a huge deal out of shit that doesn't particularly matter that much, clutching their pearls over 5 pulls, going ahead, saying stuff like night market is trash, and then proceeding to say shit like I'm pulling for waifu reasons, and so I'm not gonna even think about pulling a meta partner for an upcoming unit. And so yeah, the sub is becoming unbearable. Doom posters are fucking annoying and need to get in touch with reality. And I think that is really, really, really true. But I think one thing that this post doesn't address is the insane amount of astroturfing that is occurring. Because why are there so many individuals talking about the game when the patch is live? How are there this many people on Reddit looking at threads talking about the game when the patch and all of its content is live? Because they don't actually.
I'll let him finish.
They're from here, from here, from here, and from here. So with that, let me know what you all think. Peace.
So, cancel. Yeah, that last point, yeah, I think it's kind of moot. I don't know how to say the word, but yeah, that's a bit. I think that's a bad opinion. If you've kept up with WuWa, then you can easily finish everything that the patch has to currently offer and have nothing to do as of today, which is Thursday. The patch came out on Monday night for people in America. So, I don't know, man. People are just looking to see if their opinions are validated. I think Which, yes, there's a lot of complainers, and yes, they're probably astroturfing, but I think that lumping all complaints into the exact same pool of people is intellectually dishonest. But anyway, I think I got through most of my points. If you feel like I am wrong and you want to rage at me in the comments, feel free. I will, I'll rage bait you back. But that was all I wanted to say. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.